All right, this is HomoSanity. Um, so you can listen to the show in two different ways. You can listen on your laptop. That doesn't allow you to engage in the chat room or come on via voice if you want to do that. You can also engage the other way, which is by downloading the app to your phone. You may or may not want to do that, but that allows you to um, engage in the chat um, and also come on via voice. Why that is that way, I don't know, but that's how it is. That's how she rolls here on Podbean. So anyhow, welcome to HomoSanity. I'm glad you are listening, whether it is recorded or live. I try and do this bi-weekly when I am going to do it. I am also largely on an app called Swell. Swell is a very user-friendly app, even if you are not experienced. You just get on there, do 5-minute segments. It is very phone-friendly, another phone-friendly one, not really laptop-friendly. And that's where I started and built off of that. And so I do this, and I do Transformation by Music through my HomoSanity podcast, where I interview people and their favorite song and how it's transformed their lives. So you can see recordings here on Podbean and Spotify that have to do with Transformation by Music. Those are excellent, and I will interview anybody on that. So if you're interested, please let me know. I would love to interview you. That is not live, those are pre-recorded. So we can do that always too. All right, so I have a variety of topics to cover today. And I was actually thinking of going over first my experience in ex-gay reparative therapy, kind of my time's in the closet and coming to the place of coming out, but I'm going to do different because, I'm just going to be honest with you that I've been struggling with some things. It's been a hard couple days. I've got some changes to make in my life, and it's not easy to make them. And so the changes for me as being an out man is facing some difficulties around my own community in the gay community here, and some things I've got to forgive and let go of. Um, and so I want to talk about that a little bit and what that's been like for me. And in that way, maybe some fellow gays are going to understand that aspect, which, might not put a positive light on the gay experience. But so anyhow, when I came out, um, you know, after my unraveling of being in the fundamentalist Christian faith and all that, and I accepted that. When I came out, the two biggest things for me was going to a coming out group at a gay LGBT community center, and then meeting a man there who eventually brought me to an LGBT affirming church, because I still wanted some spirituality in my life, and I still considered myself a Christian. I just didn't know how to form it. Though I'd practically lost my faith altogether, but by that time I was trying to reform things and stuff. So in the coming out group, I shared a lot of myself, right? It was hard to trust people. Uh, I did not want to be gay, and I talk about this all the time. If you ever need somebody to talk to your parents or family about, somebody that, because, people are like, well, you should try this, you should try that. Listen, I did not want to be gay. I tried everything under the sun. And I could tell you why I didn't want to be gay, but that goes into a longer story about the roots of that. But um, so when I came to the LGBT center, when I went to the church, it wasn't easy for me to embrace these people, to embrace these things about myself, and it was a process. And so becoming vulnerable and embracing these people, when it happened, it was a wonderful, wonderful thing. When I was vibing in these places, I was vibing because I never had anything like this in my life. Okay. Uh, I lived a pretty sheltered life because I was closeted. I was bullied. I lived in a very small town for a lot of years, and I had pretty much almost no friends at all for a good portion of my young life. I would say from the ages of 12 to, let's see, when did I come out? From the ages of 12 to 30 something. I came out when I was 39. But I don't want to say I didn't have friends in between them because in my ex-gay ministry days I did. But so we'll say from the ages of 12 to in my mid-20s. So it was really difficult. So when I was vibing here, I was vibing, right? Trusting. So it was great. And one of the hard things for me to do was to ever leave places like that and move on to something else. And that happened to me even with the ex-gay stuff when I would even go from a certain Bible study group to another one, and I'd be like, oh, I don't want to do this because I have friends here. And it'd be like, oh, you're grown, go on to the next one, and then yep, sure enough, I'd lose them, right? Well, in the LGBT group that I was in, I went to a gay men's choir, and I really did not want to lose the coming out group. But I went into that again. I got some initial rejection. It was hard. I remember going up to a guy to take my seat, and the guy pointed to the second row up and said, "You can go sit over there." I was like, "Damn, biatch! Wow, that really hurt." Things like that happened. It was tough at first, but again, somewhere along the line, I found some people amongst the divas and the drama, and I was vibing there, right? And I would see my coming out group people, and still they loved me. And it was like, okay, I didn't lose them. Okay. And I had my church people, my LGBT church people. So I had these great connections, a lot of connections. I felt not, I definitely was not in the top tier popularity group, but I was known. I had connections like I never had connections before in my life. 3 circles of connections. Okay. Around the time of COVID, just around that time and heading into COVID, things fell apart. Okay. The church moved to a different location, which was farther away, and I stopped going as much, and people started copping attitudes there about not showing up. And I started getting snarky things on my Facebook pages by people. And then the gay choir had grown so much that leaders started getting really big egos. And then there was a huge split, as well as the director just went off his rocker on a whole bunch of things I'm not going to get into, but he really hurt me. And he hurt a lot of people. And there just was a split. But before the split, I could hardly, this love of my life, this transformational music in this place where I just loved going, became a place where I physically almost could not walk into anymore. And so that went. So when I tried to go back to this was 3 years in the gay choir, when I tried to go back to the coming out group, a lot of the people had changed out. Some had really changed personalities, and so had the leader for some reason. I'm not sure why, but I found myself outside of a clique and found myself feeling very unwelcomed. And a lot of other people expressed feeling that way. Then COVID hit, and things really changed. And during COVID, I lost a number of friends. Things happened. I got, and I'm not going to get into the stories, but just certain misunderstandings, backstabbings, even more, that made me feel more unwelcomed in those circles and in places to go. And so I tried a gay sports league. I thought, well, I'm going to try something different. So I tried a gay sports league. Found myself being bullied in one of their leagues. So I thought, well, I'm not going to give up. Wasn't the worst bullying in the world. The guy was a jerk. Maybe he won't be on the other. I'll make sure he's not on the other thing that I try. So I do that. I go on to another one, and oh, it's like I found my peeps. I mean, I took a picture. I showed my family right away. They're like, these people are adorable. They're like, yeah, we don't have friends either. We're doing this to try to make friends. We're all friends. We've been friends, but we're also trying to make new friends. Wonderful. Had a blast of a season. You know what's coming, right? Oh, goodness. 3 months later, one of the persons that was transgender, who was on the board, by the way, I get a notice that they want to investigate me. The board wants to investigate me because she was accusing me. I should say they, because that's the pronoun they use. They want to accuse me for purposely misgendering them. So our event was always held in noisy bars. And when I asked why they accused me of that, they said I should have overheard them correcting others in a noisy bar, which I never did. And then they went about accusing me of other things. Meanwhile, the whole season, they bought me drinks, bought me pizza, we laughed. And I did notice near the end her separating, or them separating themselves from the group. But I thought that was a whole group thing. And I was always asking the others if I was treating treating them fairly and good, and I never got any negative feedback. So I was just devastated by that because yet again, I had connected. Uh, I felt I made friends with these people, and they did that. I mean, that person and a couple of them backed her up, except one person did not, totally did not. And what was I going to do? Fight her who's on the board? I just backed out and said, no thanks. I don't need this in my life. So yeah, so that has set me back. All of that has set me back quite a bit. And I just find, in the apps and talking and meeting with a lot of gay people, except online and different places and in a therapy group that I'm a part of, there is this shallow level of talk and sexualized level of talk that makes me shut down. Yes, we can have fun, we can laugh, but it never goes beyond that. And at this level in my life, I want more. And I can't find more. I find more in groups that want more, but those groups I find are online with people that are far away. Um, so it's difficult. It's very difficult. And what I need to do, my work, that I didn't realize just within the last couple days, is that I have to forgive these people that hurt me so deeply. I've just been holding on to it and not wanting to go into the pain of all that happened because I won't go anywhere in the gay community, pretty much. And I see them on social media and I still hate their living guts. And I've got to forgive them so that I can go out and do my own thing. But to be honest, I don't know where I want to go out and do my own thing. I don't even know if it's in the gay community because I don't know, I guess I could go somewhere to have fun, sure, with them, but I want more. I want people with substance too. And I also don't want to do the churchy church dance either. The churchy church dance where it's all about being a member. And then if you're not there, well, then we don't see you or care about you anymore or like you anymore. You get the side eye when you show up. I'm at a church now with straight people that I go once in a while. And, sometimes I feel terrible, but often I don't make it. But when I do go, it's like a welcome home. I never get any kind of bitterness like I would if I went to the gay church and hadn't been there. So there's things to work on for me, but also I think the gay community has things to work on too. But in the meantime, I have to decide what I'm going to do and what I'm going to put up with and where I'm going to go next. So that's my story with that, and I'm sticking to it. All right. Well, before we transition into a short comedy skit here, because I always do some kind of comedy skit. On my last one, I did a skit of Christian porn and what that would be like. If you missed that, go back. It's funny. This show is brought to you by Heslop's Gifts in China because Trump would not accept Chinaware, and he's trying to shut down all stores that sell China That's a joke. That's a joke too. This show is not sponsored by Heslop's Gifts and Chinaware. I used to work at Heslop's Gifts and Chinaware, but can you imagine that probably Trump people would try and shut down stores like that because it has the word China in it? We don't want any stores that sell Chinaware because we don't want anything coming from China. China. Okay. So I'm going to do a little radio skit, and this is based off a true story, folks. This is based off a true story. When I did work as a phone rep, phone sales rep, I just took orders. People called in at Heslop's Gifts and Chinaware. And this was a lady calling from the Appalachian Mountains. And she had a fascination with squirrels. And you're going to hear why. Bling! Heslop's Gifts in China. How may I help you today? Well, howdy there. I would like to order the Hummel piece with the squirrel riding the bicycle. Oh, okay, ma'am. Do you have the item number for that? Oh, yes, I do. It is 29B on page 44A. Okay, let me just type that in. Clickety-clack, clickety-clack. Oh, yeah, that is adorable. I love that. Oh, I do too. I just love anything to do with squirrels. I only get the Hummels that come out with the squirrels in them. I live out here in the Appalachian Mountains, you know. Oh, you do? I love the mountains and squirrels. Oh, you love squirrels too? Well, let me tell you, people don't believe me, but out here in the Appalachian Mountains, we run our own business. It's a squirrel rescue business. Yep, we take care of the squirrels out here. Oh, well, gosh, is there something going on with the squirrels in the Appalachian Mountains I don't know about? What's going on out there? Oh, well, yes, there certainly is. Uh, we do chemo and radiation on any tumors the squirrels that we find may have. Oh my goodness, really? Squirrels have tumors and cancers? Oh, they sure do. And we do our best to rehabilitate them. Oh my goodness. Like, well, what kind of tumors do they have? Well, they can have brain tumors or sometimes on their organs. Oh, goodness. Well, what do you treat them with? I mean, where do you get the supplies? Oh, well, it's hard for us to get supplies. My husband has to go and make runs because it's a treacherous trip up here, especially in the wintertime. But we do get the supplies and we take care of the squirrels and we treat them and we rehabilitate them and do our best because I love the squirrels. And the only Hummels I ever get, and you'll only find me calling probably, usually they come out in the spring or summer. You'll only find me calling you is when those squirrel Hummels come out. Wow, that is incredible. So, what happens when you release them out? I mean, like after you rehabilitate them, I mean, are they okay? Oh, yes, we take care of them, get them back into the, strength, give them a little physical therapy, and then we release them back into the wild. Oh my goodness, that's incredible what you're doing. I love it. Well, thank you. Thank you. So, like, do you track them to see how they're doing? Oh, no, no, no. That would be a little bit much, don't you think? And that's the end of that skit. When she said that's a little bit much, I was thinking, well, it's a little bit much what you're doing already. Um, it's wonderful that she did that. I worked there about 3 years, and sure enough, she would call every year, and I would forget until I would hear, it's so and so from the Squirrel Rescue Center. It's really, really, really something. All right, on to our next topic, which is actually going to branch into something else, but I wanted to talk about these killings in Nigeria, which you may have heard about. I have a loved one in Nigeria, a very dear person. And in Nigeria right now, there are Christians being killed by Muslims. In the north, and fortunately, my dear loved one, a gay man, is more in the southeast or southwest, I think. So he's out of danger. It's amazing the shift tide of what goes on. Muslims being killed. You have in Israel Palestinians being killed. Here in Nigeria, Christians being killed. The tide changes with things like just in this nation. We had a Christian majority here. I was reading a report recently that that's no longer the case. We are largely now a nation of people that don't believe in anything over Christians. Isn't that something to think about? That is amazing to me. And the spiritual difference for me has been felt even before 2020. And I never knew what it was, but I saw darkness in nature. I feel a spiritual vibration a lack of it. I'm a very spiritual person ever since I've been a child. I've had spiritual visitations that I never asked for. And I'm very grateful for because it's always led me on spiritual journeys. Um, and there's something going on in this nation right now that um, I, isn't good. And I hope it changes. And I'm not saying that that change should be a Christian nation, but we need some kind of spiritual revival here. People believing nothing is, to me, not a good spiritual path. That's just my personal belief, and I can feel that in the vibration, in the waters. But on this thing of what we're talking about in Nigeria and the murders and my dear friend, well, I don't want to say my dear friend, my dear love, just a beautiful man that I would probably marry in a heartbeat if he came here. Just a very deep, beautiful person who suffers so much over there. Also has to worry about being out as a gay person over there. You can't be gay over there in Nigeria. And that reminded me of something I want to tell you about that most people don't know about, and that is the story of Uganda when they tried to make Uganda a Christian nation. Do any of you know about that? Most people don't know about that. The real true story behind that. The real true story behind that is that a whole slew of evangelists, including Rick Warren, got behind this effort and this excitement about turning Uganda into this almost promised land of a Christian nation, and the leader of Uganda was going to let them do it. And so they came and they used their ministries and everything to offer food and monies and all sorts of things while proselytizing these people, and you know the soldiers and everything, military for the Lord. Okay. That's what they were doing. And Rick Warren had the the leader on his shows, even from Uganda. Okay. What people don't realize is what happened. What really, really happened is that in their teaching about homosexuality being wrong, in their support for homosexuality being wrong, which Uganda believed anyhow in their Christian faith, but these evangelists came in with that too. It fueled a fire. It fueled a fire so bad that the Ugandan minister went to extremes about killing and imprisoning homosexuals. And if you even knew of one and didn't report it, you too were punished. And so Rick Warren did not want that to tarnish his reputation, and so did others. And they got out. That's why they got out, and that's why it didn't happen. Now, if that didn't happen, and it didn't go to that extremes, but maybe it was just enough to keep suppressed homosexualities, enough to emotionally and mentally fucking damage them for the rest of their life under silent screams, to murder their souls silently and not tarnish these celebrity preachers, then that would have been fine for them. And that's what makes me sick. That's what makes me sick for that. All right, we're going to take a small break while I get some water, and I will come right back. All right, I am back. I have to throw something out there that's off topic of anything gay. But has anyone noticed that people are driving around with their brights on so bright, and the LED lights, like I was driving today home, and there was this big truck that came up behind me with their LED lights, and it was so bright as I was pulling down my street, and I was trying to park um, by the curb, and I could not see a darn thing. And luckily, I just figured out something from memory. I wanted to drive up, follow that truck, and like talk to that person. But I'm noticing this more and more. People just driving with their brights and like down the expressway or whatever, they will just come up behind you with their brights because they want you to move over so that they can go by. I just, do people have to be like, are we just going to just increasingly be a more annoying human species? Is that what we're aiming for? I, I don't know. Anyhow, I want to close with something to let you know. I'm training, developing, and I don't know where it will lead, but I'm training on possibly becoming a coach on anxiety. And so I want to talk about, leave you with something around anxiety, because maybe you deal with anxiety some. And I wanted to leave you with two important things to realize about anxiety that I found that was really, really revelational to me. The first thing to realize is that your brain is like a bubble machine. Okay. So think of a bubbler, and all these bubbles are coming out, thought bubbles. Okay. It's just producing all these thoughts like little bubbles, 24 hours nonstop from your conscious mind. That's what's happening. Okay. You have no control over the flow or nature of your thoughts. Okay. Some people will tell you to try and control that. That is absolutely futile. Okay. Now, at times, if you think of a child with being fascinated with these bubbles, you may be drawn to a particular thought bubble or several and want to capture it. It could be a good thought or it could be a disturbing one. All right. The best place to be is to just observe them coming and going. All right. Rather than attaching to them. Okay. So don't be disturbed by the thoughts coming into your mind. Rather, observe them. Rather than staying in the middle and putting your face in front of a bubbler machine so that they splat. Stay outside of that stream of the bubbler machine and just observe them. Let them go by and observe them. You can be like, okay, there's that thought. That's a good one. That's a bad one. Okay. As much as you can. This is where meditation is a good thing, where you can practice breathing and taking some quiet time to observe your thoughts and get in that observational place and try your best to detach and just observe the thoughts that are coming through. Okay. The second thing I want to leave you with, and that you might not like, and this one was something I didn't like, and that's why I say that. For the longest time, I didn't like this because I was a cognitive guy. I was thoughts. Change your thoughts, change your life, right? It's not that you don't work on thoughts at all, but please get this. Anxiety and trauma is stored in your body like a built-in alarm system similar to a car alarm, okay? This can feed into your thoughts, but it begins in the body, and treatment has to start there, not by controlling your thoughts. Your thoughts are responding to the alarm that's going off in your body, okay? Anxiety is the body's alarm system telling you things aren't right. It's the fight or flight mode, okay? If someone's ready to fight or flee, is a positive mantra really going to do anything in that alarming moment? You're either going to get hit or you're going to feel the breeze of the person running away. All right. So there's this argument that you might be getting yourself into, what comes first, the thought or the feeling. Well, I'm going to encourage you to not get caught up in that right now and realize that that it's pretty much most people agree that the alarm is in your body, which produces the thoughts, okay? When you have the alarm, your mind starts looking for why you're feeling this in your body. And it starts coming up with reasons. Have you ever woken up or ever had a moment where you said, gosh, why am I feeling anxious right now? Geez, it must be, right? Or you have felt like the universe or God or something, you've offended something in the universe. You're not sure what it is, right? That's your mind looking for the reason why your body is feeling anxious. Okay. So I'm going to leave you with that for right now. It's just something to ponder. All right. This is the end of my second HomoSanity show. I hope that you enjoyed it, got something out of it, and I don't know. I may be next week. I may not. I'm trying this out. So follow my media, Swell, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, if you're interested in more. HomoSanity out. Adios.